Welcome. This is my weekly oracle card reading for the period of the 27th of May to the 2nd of June. And this reading is an energetic oracle card reading, and it's for the collective. So, just before we begin, if you'd like to just close your eyes for a short while, this will be very, very short. And it's just to help us to enter into this time, this reading, with an open heart, and to be able to then hear and receive what is most pertinent and what is most useful for us, so that our souls recognize the words which it needs to receive so that it can evolve positively or become enlightened, yeah, and become even more of itself, and therefore for us to really embody ourselves even more in this incarnation. Okay, so just close your eyes for a short while and just slow your breath down, and I'm going to sound my chime 3 times. So just breathe slowly. Let go of everything in your everyday life, and just allowing this time for you and nothing else. And let me apologize for those funny sounds in the background. That's my cat sleeping on the sofa and she's snoring. So we continue, and I have used 3 decks. The main deck with the 3 cards in the front is from Rebecca Campbell, and the deck is called Work Your Light Oracle Card. And the card here on the top left is from Denise Linn's Native Spirit Oracle Cards, and the final one on the top right is from the Crystal Oversoul Attunements by Michael Eastwood. So we're going to dive straight into the first 3 in the front. And the first card, and this generally is about the energy for us this week. It expresses the energy. It's giving us an idea of perhaps what we are being invited to play with, to engage with, to express. So the first card is Priestess. And how are you being called to step up and lead? Now, if a gentleman is listening to this, it's not just about a reading for the ladies, it's also for the priests. I'm just looking at the card itself, just to gain an idea of what it might mean to be in this position or to hold this position for others, for ourselves. So there's a pyramid behind, or something which has a point behind the lady. She is dressed in beautiful, beautiful garments and what looks like golden wings, and she has a headdress, and it looks like there's a snake just curling over her head, and with the head of the snake just above where the third eye chakra would be. She's also dressed in white and blue. So, now what does this mean? What could it mean for us? For me, it is very much about remembering what and who we are. Perhaps many of us have connections to the angelic realm. Perhaps we have been ritual creators in other timelines, in past lives, in future lives. Perhaps the other aspects of our soul are very much connected to those realms as well. And it doesn't have to be, being a priest or priestess is not necessarily about a role in a religious system. It's what you do as a leader of your life, being completely connected with your will, with your dream, with your desires, and focusing upon that and creating this idea or this intention that you have in your life now. So for me, this card for this particular moment in time is very much about owning how you create in your life and how and the position we hold in our lives and what we experience in our lives. There is a hermetic law, I think, or it's part of the hermetic wisdom. What is within is also without. What is above is also below. So what is in your subconscious and your psyche, which is creating what you see around you at the moment, directly around you, directly what you experience in life. And we're being asked to take notice of that and to also know that we are the creator of this. So it might be a very, very difficult thing to hear. And I'm sure a lot of you will talk about, well, what about all these wars on earth? And I believe that is very much connected to our whole collective consciousness, the whole of humanity. And therefore, with regards to that, perhaps we need to face, or we need to acknowledge that perhaps there is some sort of war within ourselves as well, and it's being played out in a part of the world, and it's horrific, really horrific. But also what is also horrific is the war that we wage within ourselves, against ourselves, judging ourselves, putting ourselves down, telling ourselves we're not good enough, just constantly allowing ourselves to be limited by the past, limited by past painful experiences. Well, these cards are telling us it's time to just let it all go. You need to step up. You need to let all of that go. You need to get some help. If it's too much for you, speak to your doctor, get some therapy, get some counseling, go for psychotherapy, Reiki, EFT tapping, TRE. It's brilliant for PTSD, TRE, and a lot of the other modalities as well. And go for people who have been recommended. You can also help yourself by finding the space and time, perhaps out in nature, perhaps in a beautiful park where you feel safe, and just stopping everything, letting your normal, everyday, crazy and stressed out life go for a short while. Put some lovely music on and just sit there and be open to the trees, to nature, to the birds, and just trust that you are completely safe. Of course, if you feel that it's time to move on, then you need to listen to your guidance as well. Perhaps if you feel safer to do it in your own home, in your room, where you are surrounded by all the things that you love and you have put there, then do go ahead. But it's very much a big reminder. Come on, it's time to move and step up and own your life. Don't let it play you, you play it. and you are the composer of your music. And so get on with it. I know it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong message. And when I first looked at that card when it came out, I said, oh yeah, priestess, brilliant, priestess, yeah. You know, everyone would love to have some what seems to be an incredibly important role, especially in with all this idea of the new age and everyone having past lives of having been in temples in Egypt and South America. Yeah, but it's a huge responsibility, which is absolutely brilliant. But what about our own lives? Looking at us closely with love, not with judgment, with love. And if we're finding it very difficult, if we're finding dealing with our trauma, our shadow side, really, really tricky, and I completely understand it can be really quite frightening. Go and get some help. For the others who are dealing with their stuff and they're working through their shadow and they're acknowledging and they understand and they're loving themselves for that and getting the help that they need, perhaps you need to be the leader and you need to show people and be an example for people that it can be done, and that it's not as terrifying and it's not as woo-woo as anyone thinks it is. It's really a lot of inner child work as well. Yeah. So from a psychology point of view, I suppose it's inner child work. It's parenting yourself in the way that you most need it. Instead of trying to find that outside of yourself, it's giving it to yourself. So if you crave love or you crave someone to hear you, perhaps it's time to ask yourself, well, what do I really need? How do I want this love to be? How did I want mom to love me? Did I want mom to acknowledge that I did really well and yes, she knew that I tried my best and she's so proud of me? Or did I just need her to just hug me or not to tell me off when I cried? So perhaps then you need to give yourself the time and space to do exactly that, and to love yourself and perhaps to hug yourself. Yeah. So we move on to the middle card. Don't dim to fit in. So there you are. Be yourself. Completely be yourself. And I love we've got again what looks like a pyramid. We've got the apex of it at the back of the middle image of the lady, and it has an eye. I suppose it's wisdom, the all-seeing eye. Some people use the eye as a means of protection. It's being able to see, being able to perceive. It's not always the physical visuals, the physical sight, which is important. It's the intuitive sight. It's the gut feeling as well. That would be another way of expressing it. And also knowing when it is completely appropriate to shine. Yeah, completely appropriate to take that cover off your light. Stop being a frog hiding under a stone and becoming the prince or princess. Yeah, and no one needs to kiss you. You just you just be who you really are, with all the love and all the craziness that you are, allowing yourself to shine like a crazy diamond and being a free and wild child. So it is very much about releasing that child self, that period of time of innocence and awe and wonder and magic, and how when we were little we would play houses, or we'd play superheroes, or we would imagine that we're playing this role and our friends were playing that role, and it felt very true to us. And that's one of the important things about creating something in your life. It's really that idea of play, imagination, and then being it and doing it, and then seeing how it unfolds and tweaking it when you need to. Yeah, it's I suppose, how can I describe it? Perhaps like you're creating a sculpture, and when you first start creating something, you may find that it will take ages. It takes a lot of focus, yeah, because you're just starting something, and maybe you're a genius, and the first thing you make is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. But perhaps for some it will take a bit of time, but if you persist and you persist, and your will and intention and your focus is there, you will create something. And if you're not happy with it, and you can change it, you can start again. So really, I do feel that a lot of us are perhaps starting to work with this now, starting to understand or starting to appreciate that a lot of life is, it's all about what we're thinking. Okay? And for us, awakening, well, this is what's been happening over the past few weeks, I think, with great intensity with the solar flares. And they've been amazing and very, very strong and powerful solar flares. And that's possibly why we've seen the northern lights as south as Kent. And they've been absolutely beautiful colors, quite different from when they're seen much further up north, with the pinks, the purples, yellows, and blues. Okay, awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. So it's also allowing a period of time when we're working through all our stuff, and then we're allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and to show who we really are. I think it's also about being vulnerable, not being afraid of being vulnerable. It's really about being honest, incredibly honest about how we feel about something or what we think about something. And in many ways, it's quite a release. It can be something which is absolutely mind-blowing if we didn't realize that that's the way we thought. But we can always change our minds, or we can run with it. And then we have this card, energetic upgrades. So you may have found that there's so many astrologers who have been speaking about this period of time, not just astrologers, a lot of other energy workers as well, expressing what they feel is an amazing time in humanity's history. Yeah, that there's so much more information that we have access to, also a lot of lies and misinformation. So it's using your intuition and your inner guidance to guide you through this whole quagmire of a mixture of truths and lies. And of course, depending on where we are at that time, or how we are able to perceive something, don't worry if something doesn't feel true today. Maybe tomorrow, or in a couple of months' time, or next year, we may understand, actually that was true. I thought it wasn't. I thought it was a lie, or a misunderstanding, or something weird. But I think I kind of get it now, and it's going to help me to gain a greater understanding of myself and what life is about. Okay, so integration is also about giving yourself a bit of time after all this work, a bit of time to process what we've been through, for things to really land in our sort of complete understanding of what it means to be human. We are all creators. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not powerful. We are incredibly powerful. And when we come together with the sole purpose of love, of unconditional love, acceptance of each and every one of us, and regardless of what we have been, perhaps previously, allowing people a second chance if they show that they are sorry, perhaps, and you're able to forgive them and let it move on. But when we come together as a group, as a collective, miracles happen even faster. Miracles can happen on our own, depending on where our focus, where our feelings and our love is. But when we come together as a group, amazing things happen, and they happen a lot more quickly. Miracles happen a lot more quickly, and we may find that wars will just stop. But in order to do that, we have to look at what's going on inside us, which is warlike, yeah, which comes from judgment and misperception, misunderstanding. So, Circle of Life is a wonderful card from Denise Linn's Native Spirit. So I find that those two cards on the sides are supportive of the three cards. The Circle of Life, nothing is really linear, and so you may find that you're working through not just this life, but things which have happened at past times, and perhaps even future times. Yes, it's a stretch of the imagination, but what we really need is an openness of mind and your imagination to be able to get you into a place where you can stand in the center, in a very quiet and a still place. It's like being in the center of the storm with everything going on around you, but you're just there and you're just observing. And by observing, you get a lot of insights because you're not being run around crazy by all the energy and the happenings and the dramas which may be occurring. But you'll notice, I understand this is happening, this is what this person is doing, and I see that as well. And just by being here, you'll find that, okay, I think I need to do this, or I need to take a step back, or this is the direction I would like to go from now on, or this is what I would really like to say to that person, because I think it will clarify matters. It will clarify my thought as well. Being out in nature, and this is a beautiful setting of stone circles, and an invitation to go into nature and create your own circle, your own ritual of blessing the earth, of blessing the world and everything that we are given, the abundance of food that we have, the amazing miracle of putting a seed in soil and just all you've done is put it in some soil, or you've seen an acorn fall on the ground and it's become a tree, or it's become a little seedling. It's popped up and there's life. What looked like it wasn't alive is suddenly brimming and obviously full of life. And it's allowing that same energy to come forth from ourselves. Yeah. Knowing that we are rooted and grounded here on earth. It's not a place we can escape from. And for many, it may be a place they don't want to be. But I found, from personal experience, I found that the more we try to run away, the more we create those experiences that we're trying to run away from. So it's best to just stop, acknowledge it, face it, and just sit in that circle, sit in your place and notice what's going on. Be open and allow yourself to be a listening ear for yourself, a feeling person for yourself. Acknowledging the elements for the shamans, the 4 directions, east, west, north, south. The elements of those directions, east for some traditions, east is air, south is fire, west is water, north is earth, and in the Chinese tradition you have wood and metal. And that is when you connect with those four directions, forward, backward, right and left, you may perceive yourself within a circle, but that circle is also a part of your energy. And if you extend yourself upwards, your consciousness upwards and your consciousness downwards, and you spin that circle 360 degrees, you will find that you are actually within a sphere of your consciousness. Perhaps your consciousness does not just reside in your physical body, but it also is beyond that, and it's connected to your energy bodies and connected to all the dimensions. But that is another conversation. I just felt that it's something that needs to come up at this time, that we're being asked to extend our perception beyond just our physical body, but in a very grounded way. So you need to be anchored and grounded here, but then you can find that you can feel things around you even more. So it's a time of heightened senses too. Green tourmaline is beautiful. The tourmalines are absolutely amazing stones. And this card has come up for us. Green tourmaline is very much about soul's wisdom, about the heart, about opening our hearts. Being vulnerable is also being very open. Let's see what else can come through. Yes, open, very connected with our hearts, allowing ourselves to love again, perhaps to receive love again. It's tricky being human, isn't it? It's tricky being human sometimes, but this is what we are now, and we have to work with it. And there are many amazing things about being human, notwithstanding the ability to connect with all dimensions at the same time, but also the power of love and the power of and the amazing ability to feel so many emotions. Yes, it's tricky to feel grief, and it's tricky to feel hurt and to feel pain and trauma and to have PTSD, but through the heart, through the portal of the heart and the connection to unconditional love, and allowing that connection with our soul's wisdom to come through, we'll find that we will be guided along a path which will help us to heal the most painful things in our lives, just by perhaps asking for help, acknowledging that there is such a lot of pain. The choice, we are always faced with choices. Is that what I want to do today? Do I want to go to work today? Luckily, we don't have to go to work tomorrow because it's bank holiday. Do I want this? Do I want to express myself in this way? Do I want to be honest with how I feel about what you said to me? And it takes a lot of courage to do so. But this ability to feel the immense euphoria and euphoric and beautiful ecstatic feelings of joy and bliss, down to the depths of self-loathing and pain. It's a crazy experience, and it's a crazy ability that we have. But it also shows us that that we are so capable of so much, and it's through that we can empathize with others, and we can see and perceive our similarities. We can perceive our similarities through shared joys and shared celebrations, but also through shared pain. So it goes both ways, and we choose the lives that we live, no matter how brilliant they are, no matter how painful they are. And yeah, and I think that's what we're kind of being reminded of. And if it's time to change the experiences that we have, then it's time to take our power to be really powerful with the choices and get as much help as possible. If there's no human help possible, get spirit help, call in the angels, and just really keep calling them in and keep asking for help, and keep asking for the ability to clearly see what steps you need to take so that positive changes can be made, and that the quality of life experience is what you want. Okay, so I hope this is useful. This is it looks like it's going to be an absolutely crazy but amazing week, and I've got the 3 green crystals there to support us. That's peridot or peridot, and the angel is nephrite, which is I think a type of jade, and the second sphere, I think that's green moss agate, and of course the heart is rose quartz for our high heart and connection to our soul. And that's one of my favorite orchids. It has a beautiful smell, quite not very common for orchids to have a perfume. So I hope that this reading is helpful for you, and yeah, own your power. Own your power. Be what you want to be, with love, with acceptance, and please, when you are able to do that for yourself, extend it to others as well. And I feel that the world will become a much more loving place for all of us, including the animals, including the plants, including everything, the minerals, the landscapes, the seas, the oceans, the mountains. Okay, so thank you very much. If you found that the reading was useful for you, can you please give it a thumbs up, and perhaps you might like to subscribe as well. So in the near future, I'll be doing extra readings, not just the weekly ones, but with different piles, so that you have a choice of choosing the first, second, third, or fourth card to see what the energy would be like for you this week or for the next month. So there'll be further readings. I just need to get my head around video editing, sweets. So it's a learning curve for me as well, and I'm just getting on with it too. So good luck, and I love you, and yes, namaste, and have a brilliant week. And yes, I'll see you again soon. See you next week. Thank you.